Right, so welcome back to my F124 driver career mode, in which we reunite Ayrton Senna with McLaren. Now, the first episode of this went completely better than expected. I was expecting maybe, aiming for a top 5, maybe a top 7 at best. But no, I not only got a pole position with a clutch final lap in qualifying, but I then went on to win the race. What a time to be alive, and today we are heading to a world-famous circuit, Suzuka. Some of the most famous Ayrton Senna moments came from this track. I'm not gonna try and guess what years it was because I'll make an embarrassment out of myself. All I can remember is, of course, the Senna and Prost crash that won Senna the World Championship, and when Senna and Prost were teammates, when they crashed into each other in the final chicane, Prost DNF'd, Ayrton carried on, but later got disqualified. Like I said, I don't know what years they were in, but, sort of the late 80s, early 90s kind of area. So, qualifying, let's go. Oh, would you look at that? We're here in qualifying. We're already running into issues as we have a sensor fault. Don't worry, we can use a mechanic called skipping time. And there we go. So, everything's ready to go. The setup is ready. As always, we're doing 2 laps, 2 hot laps. The first one to learn the track. Let's go. Right, here we go then for my very first hot lap around this track. Unlike the tracks I've driven at so far, I have actually done some laps at this track in the challenge career mode. So I've got about, 5 laps experience, which should make all the difference between getting pole and like 10. Right, into turn 1, I like to just brake until absolutely latest. That was a bit too late. Don't worry, as always, this is for the learnings. Now I know that next lap I don't need to brake that late. Car's a little bit slow around these corners. I am running medium downforce, flat through there fairly easily though, and I will say, this track, in this car, it already feels pretty good. I didn't actually see my Sector 1 time compared to the likes of Sonoda, although we should be comfortably ahead even though this is a very scruffy lap. But let's see until Sector 2. Alright, here we come then. Sector 2 is going to be a 1 minute 12.6. which puts us 3 tenths up on Senna, which ain't a whole lot, but I think I might have noticed an issue. I'll wait until the end of the lap before I reveal it. Here we come across the line, use the remainder of my ERS, and boom. So we are going to be only P13, however, I think I've noticed something. Let's get back to the garage quick. Oh, okay, yeah, so the thing that I was thinking was wrong is that my transmission settings are completely wrong for some reason, so let's change that. That's why my car felt a bit stinky. Yeah, now it makes sense. Okay, so we currently sit in P13, and that ain't ideal, but there's a lot of time left to go and find. So let's wear down the clock, new boots, give it some. And here we go then. This has to be everything I've got if I want to even get in the top 10. Here we go. ERS enabled early. Put on that overtake. Proper wear it down. We're already finding time because I had such a good exit out of that final corner. Into turn 1 we go. Here, slight braking. Try not to lose the rear. This is really, really tentative, but you can't slack. You have to give it the full beans. That ain't bad. Avoid the inside curb. And we are already 3 tenths up on my time. Now I'm going to try and do some ERS management through these next corners. Go flat through there. Try and get a decent exit. Put hot lap back on. I might be losing some time through these next few corners, but the reason I'm doing it is so I've got overtake to use at the end of the lap. I was very slow through there. But with a good exit, I have managed to actually gain some more time. Basically just compensating from the time I lost in the braking. Turn my ERS off again. Full send. Nice. Hot lap back on. And now I've got a bit more overtake to use down the back straight going into 130R. And there you go. We are half a second up currently on my best time. Into the final chicane. Late on the brakes. Swinger in. Get a good exit. Overtake on. Bit of wheel wiggle. And it's 7 tenths of a second found. I don't think it's very high up. What's it going to be? Oh, you know what? We absolutely take that. We absolutely take that. A P2 is incredibly good. Please just... The only thing I'm hoping is please don't let the margin be very big. Okay, that's fine. That's perfectly okay. Max Verstappen takes pole by 2.5 tenths of a second. But what is crucial is I am P2. And I only got P2 by 400, so it was actually quite close. If I was half a tenth slower, I would have actually been P4. Or actually P5. No, P4. Duh. So yeah, I'm incredibly happy with that. 3 tenths up as well on my teammate Lando Norris. You can't grumble about that. And that's a really, really strong starting position for the main race. So, we won last episode's race in Melbourne. Now, I am going to target a podium, but wouldn't it be nice if I can get back-to-back wins in the first 2 races? Let's go find out what I can do. Come on! So this strategy is very interesting. What the game is predicting is that my soft tyres are going to run out extremely quickly, and the mediums are going to last way longer. So what we're planning is a 7-lap soft stint where the tyre wear is going to get really high, and then go over to the mediums and hopefully do a bit more managing. Now, I like this strategy because what it means is that we're on soft tyres on high fuel and then medium tyres on low fuel. So hopefully, I should be able to do the same lap times throughout the entire race. I'm consistently fast is the aim. So, let's lower the fuel by a little bit, not too much. I don't want to under-fuel myself, that would be tragic. I think all this is good, and we are ready to go. So, for the second race this season, at one of Senna's favourite tracks, here we go. And we're off, and it's a fantastic start on the soft tyres, a little bit squirrely. We are already ahead of Max Verstappen going into turn 1, and we don't even have any threat behind from the likes of Russell. Lance Stroll up to P4, what a driver. Now, I need to be careful not to lose my rear through this sector 1. The setup I'm running encourages oversteer, and when you're riding these curbs, you do get a lot of oversteer. But that is a pixel-perfect start for me on the soft tyres. The 2 cars behind are on medium tyres, so I might be able to build a gap. Whoa, big squirrel. But we'll see. We'll see. All I really want to do now is that I have the P1. I just want to manage my ERS, just leave my ERS to charge as much as possible so I can use it to defend down the DRS straight. Because that's really the only place I'm going to be under threat unless I make a massive mistake. So I'm just going to turn my ERS off through here. Nice. Get through. Turn it back on. And we're away. Now, Verstappen might go for a move around 130R or through the chicane. Let's see. Is he going to go for it? No, he was thinking about it, but he decided not to in the end. That's all right with me. Can I defend? Yes. ERS off. Save as much as I can. Another, like, 10% gained. ERS back on, and that is going to be the end of lap 1, and I'm in P1, using all my ERS to try and defend from Verstappen. ERS off. Now what I'm actually going to do is turn my ERS off throughout the entirety of this first sector, because they can't overtake, so I can just freely charge up my ERS through this entire first sector without any consequence or punishment. Let's take a look at this tyre where I feel like it's going to be a bit tragic. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. 1.5 laps and you're already up into the upper 10s and early 20s. That is pretty crazy. I know the game said the wear is going to be high, but that's a bit ridiculous. My goodness. So I'd say after only about 3 or 4 laps, the medium tyre is actually going to become really strong, which is, of course, very concerning. The whole point of this strategy is to try and build a gap on the soft tyres, so that when I go onto the mediums, I have that advantage so that when the likes of Verstappen and Russell go on softs, they don't catch me. But that isn't going very well, as here comes Verstappen and Russell as well, going for a double overtake. Verstappen gets through. Unfortunately, I wasn't using my overtake because I'm a bit dumb. Russell is going to get through as well, and I'm now being pressured by the likes of Lance Stroll. What's he doing up here? And yeah, the soft tyres are already gone. Like, they are gone. As expected. The objective now is to use a bit more ERS than usual, just to sort of stick with these cars. I mean, if I could just get DRS for at least a lap, that'd be nice. I basically just want to keep the gap as small as possible, so that when we start pitting, my gap isn't too big. Alright, so the gap is 0.8. Even with overtake on, I'm still losing time down the straights. Through 130R, I might gain a little bit because the AI doesn't actually go flat. Through the chicane, now I am going to have DRS. Unfortunately, I ain't really going to do much, except maybe help me from defend from Lance Stroll, and that's about it. As Verstappen went 1.6 seconds faster than me on that lap. That just shows the mediums now being the stronger tyre after only just 3 laps. I mean, look at the wear. 39% on the front left, into the 30s on every other tyre. It's pretty insane after only a couple laps. Here comes Lance Stroll. Is he going to go for a move around 130R? That'll be the bravest thing he'll ever do in his Formula 1 career. Maybe except going on social media and saying he deserves to be in F1. That'd probably be braver. Out the final corner, lots of oversteer. Now, I haven't got DRS because the medium tyre runners are so far faster than me. Oh no, I can't, no, I can't let myself be overtaken by Lance Stroll. That just can't happen. That is too much of an embarrassment. Imagine the headlines, Ayrton Senna gets pocketed by Lance Stroll. No, 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 I will not let that happen. I will actually defend like Sergio Perez 21 Abu Dhabi just so Lance Stroll doesn't get past. That can't happen. Medium runners, by the way, look at the time gain. It's like 1.6 seconds through the first sector. This is really bad because it means when I go onto the mediums, yes, I might get the undercut. However, then they'll be on softs. The only positive news is that we know the softs don't last very long. Now getting into the upper 40s, into the 50s now with my tyre wear. And at this point, I'm sort of just letting the front two go, and I'm just focusing on keeping my lap times okay and making sure Lance Stroll doesn't get past for the next 2 laps until I finally have to stop. And I'm sort of in an Aston Martin sort of, what's the word? I don't even know what the word is, but I've got 2 Aston Martins right up my arse, which is not ideal. Where's your teammate when you need one? Where is Lando? Wait, realistically, where is he? I can't even see him in the bottom left. He's just not there. Oh, no, there he is. He's in, like, P15 right now or something. Anyway, back into Sector 1. I am managing to defend from Lance Stroll fairly easily, so that's always positive. 5 seconds to the front 2 now. That's getting, like, that's sort of making them almost out of reach. The only chance I think I really have of getting back past them is safety cars and red flags and the like. You know what? I think I've come to a conclusion that I'm actually just really slow. Because if you take a little look at the butchers at the bottom left, you'll notice that apart from the front 2, there is a, like, very small gap between me in P3 all the way back to P20. In fact, pretty soon, there'll be a bigger gap between me and P2 and then me and P20. So I think it might just be me, you know? Here comes Lance Stroll, though. Is he going to go for a move finally? Into turn 1? No, he doesn't. And this is my final lap with the horrible soft tyres. Look at that. That is getting very close to puncture ranges of tyre wear. However, like I always say, I am not technically smart enough to understand how to save a certain tyre. How do I stop the front left getting worn so much compared to the others? But that is very concerning. I'd say there's actually a genuine risk of a puncture at this stage. Now, I am keeping my ERS off for most of this lap, just so when I actually pit, I've basically got a full tank for the out lap, and that's about it. Here comes Lance Stroll, though. Gonna have to use some of my ERS just to stay ahead. But even if I can charge to about 80%, that should be good. 8 seconds to the front runners now. They're just gone. Like, actual sayonara moment. Now here comes Lance Stroll, gonna park my car in the middle of the track. Lewis Hamilton takes P5. Good for him. Into the braking of the chicane for the final time on this soft stint. Not a bad stint. Felt okay, actually. And now we come into the pits. Oh, sorry, Bollard. That's my bad. Alright, so interesting enough, Stroll and Hamilton have both stayed out alongside, like, most of the grid. For some reason, only me, Alonso, Haas, and maybe, I think, Perez are the only cars to actually pit. Okay, so they're going for the extra long stint. That's good for an undercut, though. And now we're going to do the thing. Oh, shit. Now we're going to do the thing that Lewis Hamilton's engineer didn't say to him in Monaco, which is outlap critical. And actually, it might be a couple outlap criticals, because we not only have to undercut the likes of Lance Stroll and Lewis Hamilton, but we then have to go and try and get close with an undercut to the likes of Russell and Max Verstappen. And we have a mid-race goal, which is to achieve a lap time of 31.5, which is actually faster than my best lap this race. That should be doable if I could just have a clean lap. But that's still pretty quick, you know. I'm not sure about that one. Right, so there we go. The front two still haven't pitted. Lance Stroll has, though. So let's get around the final chicane and see where I come out in comparison to him. Let's have a look. There he is. And I am going to come out bloody miles ahead. My goodness, I'm actually gone. That's a good, like, 7-second gap. That is gorgeous. That's really encouraging. Now, if I'm undercutting Lance... Well, Big Skid, if I'm undercutting Lance Stroll by a good few seconds, that means I should not only undercut Hamilton by a good few seconds, but I might actually get ahead of the front two. However, they'll be on soft tyres, I'll be on mediums, and the gap will be quite close. Now, they said they wanted me to do a lap of a 31.5. Through the first sector, I'm actually slower than my best time, so that quest ain't going too well. Right, here we come down the back straight. Max Verstappen has finally pitted, and I believe that's Lewis Hamilton as well. Fastest sector 2, I'm using all my ERS to try and get that 31.5 into the final chicane. Just focus on a good exit. That's exactly what I've got. And that might be enough to get that 31.5. Let's see. Oh, by miles. Bosh. 30.7. It's not the fastest lap of the race. It's still a decent lap. And we are going to come out 5 seconds behind Verstappen, who is now on the hard. So I think that's Verstappen. Probably Russell as well. Just gone. So now the main objective is to try and keep that gap around 2 seconds to Fernando Alonso and Chile, and just try to secure this podium. But yeah, that strategy was incredibly good by the Red Bull and Mercedes teams. The start on the mediums has won them this race, purely because of how much the softs were wearing. Fair play to them. Alright, so George Russell's finally stopped. Let's see where I come out in comparison to him. Some 5 seconds behind Verstappen. Russell! Oh my goodness, Russell actually gets out by like a second and a half ahead of Max Verstappen. Actually, no, that's like 2 seconds. Oh my goodness, what a strategy by Mercedes. Fair enough, that's impressive stuff. Oh, on the grass. Car is becoming a bit difficult to drive, but as long as I can keep that gap to Alonso, I should be fine. I'm not even bothering to save ERS at this point. I am just trying to be consistent with a medium, and that's it. God, I tell you what, I feel like I've been driving for ages. We're barely halfway through this race. We still have about 8 laps left. My goodness, gap is down to 2.1. Alonso is starting to cut into my lead a little bit, but hopefully him and Sainz can scrap like they are and sort of build me a little bit of a gap. Come on, boys. Oh, look at that. Verstappen's just done a move to take the lead of this race. Max Verstappen up to P1. Well done, mate. We have another little race objective, which is to charge the ERS to 70% by lap 17. Okay, that should be fairly easy. Just keep the ERS off throughout the corners. Now, what is very concerning is how quick Alonso and Sainz are. And in fact, both of the cars behind them as well. They are very quick, and they are really eating to my lead. Look at that! That was like 7 tenths in one corner. My goodness. Honestly though, these race objective things are actually really bad because they're actively ruining my race. Like, of course I could just not complete them, but if I try and do complete them, I'm actively going to lose a position because of it. It's really strange why they've done it. But let's try and defend from Alonso now. I have no idea how he's managed to catch up so quick. He done like 1.8 seconds in a lap, which is very, very concerning. But if I could just do the same thing as I was with Stroll, which is just sort of, you know, harvest through Sector 1 and 2, and then just use overtake through Sector 3, I should be okay. Here comes Alonso. I can't really defend it at the moment. I'm going to have to use a lot of my ERS, way more than I'd like to, but I'd rather use my ERS and hang on to the podium than drop down to P4. If I lose a position, there is no chance I'm getting it back, simply because I don't have the pace. So I literally can't lose places right now. I need to defend like a lion, said Alonso, before Ocon just defended like some, like, seal. Right, final 3 laps of this race. The gap to the cars ahead is now 10 seconds. They are gone. Good news as well is that I am managing to hold back Alonso pretty easily, I'd say. He hasn't really actually gone for an overtake in quite a while, so everything's looking pretty good. Of course, one little mistake and that's the podium gone. But I'm vibing. I'm feeling good. This car, despite being on extremely worn mediums, actually feels okay still. Very, very drivable. Now watch me, like, bid it in the gravel up here or something. Penultimate lap of this race, and Verstappen and Russell are still scrapping with each other. Russell now takes the lead going into turn 1. Here comes Alonso. I've got the inside line, and I am going to hold him off. That's as close he's got to overtaking me so far, which is very, very annoying. Right, now I really need to save my ERS. I need to have as most as possible if I want to actually hang on to this podium. My only threat from now until the end is the main straight on the final lap. That is it. So I am keeping my ERS off throughout the majority of this lap. And I'm getting this podium. Here comes Alonso. Is he going to go for it round 130R? I don't think he is. Here comes Carlos Sainz though. Down the inside. That would have been very brave. Spaniard on Spaniard action. Out the final corner to begin the final lap of this race, and now we just drain that ERS tank. We put it on overtake and we don't take it off. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to use my overtake, but then I am going to keep my ERS off throughout Sector 1 purely because they can't overtake me round here. So I can actually save up even more ERS to use on the back straight to proper solidify this podium finish, and basically just completely giving up on the first and second areas. I mean, I was never going to catch him, obviously, but now I'm fully giving up on that quest. The podium is all that matters to me. Here we go, around this hairpin one more time. Be careful on the rears, try not to have oversteer, very, very nice. Maybe actually use hot lap ERS down here. Now, what I like to do for these corners is to turn it off, even if I have ERS, because I find there's a lot more grip, and then as soon as I'm on that exit, put it straight on hot lap and overtake, and we are gone. Come on, car, we can do this. George Russell coming out the final corner. It looks like George Russell is going to win, converting P3 to P1 across the line. What a close finish that is. But now it's between me, Sainz, and Alonso for the final podium place. We've had a really good exit. Big wheel spin. I'm on the grass a little bit. That was scary. My goodness. But we do come home to take a podium. And that's a big W. That is a big, big W. You might think to yourself, well, you started P2 and finished P3. How is that a W? Well, purely because my race pace was not a podium worthy. It was not podium worthy performance today. I'd say the most I should have got there was a, P6 or similar to where Lando finished. However, using some overtake, using some managing, and some defending, I have managed to get a podium. Well done to George Russell for the W. Posh Spice, big up. Max Verstappen, he's got to be annoyed really, hasn't he? He had the strategy correct, but Russell's was just better. Managed to fight him, got past a few points, but unfortunately on the final lap does lose it, and George Russell takes a W. Well done, mate. So here is the across-the-line results. Russell converts a P3 to a P1. Max Verstappen takes the fastest lap with a 30.2. That's really quick, my goodness. To take a P2, myself as well. P3 to P2, I don't think that's too bad. Charles Leclerc, by the way, up 4 positions throughout the top of the midfield. That's a good performance by him. Lando Norris, only P9 on the grid, drops down to P10. Not really doing very good in terms of the constructors, because Lando is having a bit of a stinker in this early season, or maybe I'm just overperforming. The car, after all, is only the 4th quickest. We should be aiming for P7 and P8 in that sort of area, and I'm overperforming and Lando is underperforming. It's quite interesting. Looking at the Drivers' Championship, though, I am still leading by 10 points, because I don't think Max Verstappen or George Russell was actually, what was the finishing order in Australia? I genuinely don't remember, but at the end of it all, after 2 rounds, I lead the championship by 10. Now, Lando Norris is sitting in P11 currently, 40 points behind me, and that was his first points finish, because obviously in Australia, he started like P17 or P19, and in the Constructors, we sit P2, only 9 points off Ferrari, and keep in mind, 41 of those 42 points have come from me. I'm carrying right now, but that was a really good episode. That was a really good race. I enjoyed that a lot. That's going to be all from me. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe, all the usual stuff, and I will see you next time. See ya!